This transmission is strictly forbidden. If you're seeing this, the treaty has already been broken." The words echoed through the void of the old Terran relay, flickering to life for the first time in 70 years. Dust floated in microgravity as the ghost of Earth's past hissed through static, raw, unsanctioned, and human. Admiral Kethvok of the Jalathi Empire snarled as the message replayed on loop. "Shut it off," he barked. But the relay wouldn't die. Far below the Admiral's orbiting dreadnought, on a fractured asteroid mining colony near the Eridan Rift, 4 figures moved in silence through the chaos. "Clear?" Lieutenant Ava Sorrell whispered, her eyes scanning the shattered corridor. "Clearish," muttered Beck, the wild card, wiping blood from a serrated wrench. "One of those crab bots took a swipe at me. Not my best date." "Try not to flirt with death today," replied Kaido, the dreamer, a soft-spoken astrophysicist turned codebreaker with a permanent coffee stain on his collar. He was already hacking a fused bulkhead with fingers that trembled from too little sleep and too much adrenaline. "Status?" Ava asked over comms. "Systems are fried, but give me 60 seconds and a miracle," Kaido said. "Make it 30. The Jalathi will be swarming this place." Their mission was simple. On paper. Infiltrate the dead relay. Extract proof the Jalathi had broken the Treaty of Eldari. Get out before the galaxy noticed. But the moment the relay had lit up with human code, coded warnings, layered in raw emotion and something ancient and angry, they knew it was already too late. The treaty, signed after the Battle of Sol, forbade human involvement in any galactic warfare. The terms had been clear: exile, observation, and disarmament. Humanity was too dangerous, too unpredictable. But sometimes, the galaxy forgets why it wrote the rules in the first place, and tonight, the universe remembered. Beck hummed as he welded shut a breached airlock. "You ever think maybe we're the bad guys? We're not," Ava said flatly. Her voice was low, calm, the way a storm settles before it breaks. "But they want us to be." "How poetic," muttered Tez, the team's problem solver, stocky, scarred, and never far from her toolkit or her sarcasm. "Try opening this conduit with your feelings, Lieutenant. It's fused solid." Ava leaned against the wall, rifle slung low. She didn't bark orders, never had. She led by walking through the fire first. "Tez, Beck, we need access to the relay's primary node. Kaido, prep the data transfer. I want redundancy. No glitches, no traces." "Copy that," Tez replied, dropping to one knee and burning through the lock with a plasma torch. For a moment, all Ava could hear was the hiss of gas and her own heartbeat. Distant tremors shook the floor, too regular to be random. Jalathi patrols. "They're coming." She closed her eyes. Memories surged, scorched skies, the sound of orbital fire, the way her little brother had clung to her leg the night Earth was decommissioned. All that promise, all that rage, suppressed, contained. Until now. 10 minutes later, they stood in the relay's core. 1,000 years of human ingenuity pulsed beneath the glass, wrapped in code the galaxy never understood, chaotic, poetic, and alive. Kaido whispered, "It's not just a warning. It's a kill switch. These files, they weren't just left behind." "Booby-trapped?" Tez asked. "Number worse, human. This system doesn't just resist interference. It adapts, evolves. It's waiting for a choice." "Then let's make it," Ava said. The screen blinked. One word. She hesitated. Then the ceiling exploded. Jalathi troopers descended like obsidian wasps, energy rifles cutting arcs of blue light. Beck dove across the room, pulling Tez out of the line of fire. "Guess they got the invitation." Kaido slammed the terminal shut, shielding the uplink with his body. "Give me 10 more seconds." Ava returned fire with brutal efficiency. She moved like someone who had nothing left to lose and everything to protect. Tez hurled a shock mine into the breach. "Heads down." A concussive blast rippled through the chamber. For a second, everything stopped. Kaito's voice cut through. "Download complete!" Ava grabbed the core drive and slotted it into her armor. "Fall back! We've got what we came for!" They bolted down the corridor as flames and twisted metal rained behind them. Beck grinned mid-sprint. "Hey, remember when this was going to be quiet?" "Shut up and run," Tez growled. They barely made it to the extraction point. An old smuggler's ship rigged for silent jumps. As the bay doors closed, Kaito collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. "The data, it's not just evidence. It's a message. From the last war. From the last human general." Ava held the drive like it weighed 1,000 lives. "He warned them. Told them if they ever broke the treaty, we'd come back. Not with fleets. Not with armies." She looked up. "But with 4. It was never about numbers. Not with them. Not strategy. Not strength. It was what they became when you gave them a reason." Excerpt, Jalathi War Tribunal Archives. The Ghost Current, an old Terran stealth frigate long stripped from galactic registries, drifted silent as a shadow past the Eridan Rift. No transponder, no allies. Just 4 humans and a truth that could collapse a 1,000-year peace. Kaito stared at the decrypted file pulsing in the holotank. Lines of Terran code unfolded like poetry. Erratic, emotional, beautiful. A war log. A final will. General Marcus Dane, commander of the Sol Uprising. "I thought he died in the siege of Europa," Tez muttered. "He did," Kaito said. "But not before recording this." They all listened. "To whoever finds this, they'll tell you we were monsters, that we burned too bright. But the truth, we were just scared, outnumbered, outgunned, outlawed, and we still made the galaxy bleed to remember our name." Beck whistled. Guy had a flair for the dramatic. Ava didn't smile. "This changes everything," she said. "If the Jalathi broke the treaty, and we respond with this, humanity goes from exile to execution." Kaito looked at her. "Then what do we do?" A pause. "Whatever it takes," she said. They couldn't go to the council. The Eldari would bury it. The Zarn would monetize it. The Jalathi would burn worlds to keep it silent. They needed a beacon. Somewhere unfiltered, uncontrolled. A neutral stronghold of galactic memory. Kaito tapped coordinates into the nav core. "Relay point Vega 1. Old Republic transmitter. Still public access, still off-grid." Beck raised a brow. "The one surrounded by a black hole cluster and owned by smugglers?" "Yep." "Perfect," Tez deadpanned. The jump tore reality in half. Outside, the cosmos bled blue and white. Inside, the humans prepped for a war not of their choosing. Beck polished a makeshift railgun. "You ever wonder why they fear us so much?" "Because they don't understand us," Ava said, her voice a quiet knife. "And what they don't understand, they try to bury." Tez nodded, holding up a small charred ship. "I've got 6 triggers rigged through the core. Any attempt to intercept, and the truth goes viral." Kaito looked uneasy. "We're risking a galactic uprising. Billions could die." Ava met his gaze. "Or they remember why peace mattered in the first place." He didn't respond. He didn't need to. As they neared Vega 1, trouble found them. A Jalathi warship, cloaked and silent, dropped in their path. Ava growled, "How did they track us?" "Probably Beck," Tez muttered. "What?" He grinned. "I posted a farewell message on the darknet. Poetic, rhymed." Ava blinked. "You're joking." "Mostly." The enemy vessel opened fire. The ghost current shook violently, alarms screaming. Shields buckled under particle blasts. "We can't outrun them," Kaito shouted. "Then we outthink them," Ava snapped. "Tez, manual override on the gravity shell. Kaito, scramble their targeting. Beck, do something crazy." Beck cracked his knuckles. "You'll need to be more specific." They turned toward the black hole cluster. "No sane pilot goes near that," Kaito shouted. "Good," Ava said. "We're not sane." As the ghost current dove into the gravitational well, space bent, twisted, and screamed. The Jalathi pursued. Predictably. Kaito whispered a code string. The ship flickered. Half visible, half gone. Beck rerouted power to fake an engine failure, luring the enemy closer. "Tez!" Ava barked. "Now!" she yelled. The rear hull split open. A minefield of EMP spikes and reflective decoys launched into the Singularity's mouth. The Jalathi vessel followed, then screamed sideways into the abyss, pulled off course by its own arrogance. Gone. Silence returned. Beck leaned back, breathless. "Want to put that on my resume?" Ava turned to the others. "Now we run fast, and we burn loud." They reached Vega 1, a husk of a station, floating in defiance of time. "Still functional," Kaito confirmed. They uploaded the message. General Dane's words. Raw footage of Jalathi war crimes, data confirming the treaty breach. Everything. Broadcast time, 27 seconds. Enough. Back aboard the ghost current, Ava sat in silence, watching the ripple spread. In 20 minutes, every race in the galaxy would know. Every soldier, every diplomat. The illusion was shattered. "Think they'll come for us?" Beck asked. "Definitely," Tez said. "They won't know how." Kaito added softly, "We don't fight like they do." "No," Ava said. "We fight like humans." In the coming days, council worlds erupted in debate. Treaties torn, alliances fractured. But one message echoed louder than them all. The humans didn't start the war, but they sure as hell remembered how to end one. They called it a rebellion. We called it a reckoning. And in the silence that followed, they finally understood. Humans don't go to war. We become it. Excerpt from The Silence. Before the verdict, human transmission classified. The galaxy responded the way frightened empires always do, violently. Within hours of the Vega 1 broadcast, the ghost current was marked for termination. The Jalathi declared the crew war criminals. The Eldari called them anomaly-class disruptors. The Zarn offered 1 billion credits for their heads, alive or otherwise. And in every shadowed corner of space, people watched. Not just humans. What few were left in exile in scattered colonies, but the broken, the voiceless, the enslaved. They saw 4 humans defy an empire, and they remembered. Aboard the ghost current, chaos tightened like a noose. 17 bounty fleets, Tez reported, sweat beading on her brow. 3 of them in our sector. Kaito spun from terminal to terminal, hands dancing like he was playing a symphony of desperation. "We can't outrun them all. The drive's buckling." Beck laughed. Not mocking, ready. "Well, guess it's time to get creative." Ava stood at the viewport, watching stars flicker like dying embers. She didn't blink, didn't flinch. "We make a stand." Kaito turned. "Here, on a decommissioned mining moon. We don't even have orbital support." "We don't need it," Ava said. They all knew what she meant, and why it was terrifying. They landed on Luna Vex, a rust-colored moon orbiting a gas giant that belched lightning. Once a Terran outpost, long abandoned. Tez began modifying the old atmospheric extractors, turning them into magnetic charge traps. Kaito wired a neural feedback loop through the remaining broadcast towers, capable of scrambling mines for light years in every direction. Beck just smiled and got to work. With explosives, lots of them. They didn't fight with brute force. They fought like humans, with imagination soaked in madness. The first wave came at dusk. 3 frigates, dozens of dropships. Ava stood at the crater rim in full armor, her rifle gleaming in the dying sun. Alone. Waiting. The enemy thought it was a bluff. They landed. She let them. 30 seconds in, the mines triggered. A false EMP fried their optics. Beck's traps funneled them into a ravine laced with plasma charges. Kaido's neural disruptor sent every commander into a 3-minute seizure. In that window, Ava descended like a reaper, clean, precise. No wasted shots. She wasn't just fighting. She was sending a message. We warned you. The second wave came angrier, bigger, wiser. They brought an Arbiter-class destroyer, 10 stories tall, with armor thick enough to shrug off a nuke. Beck climbed it. Literally. He strapped himself to the hull during their approach, drilled through the sensor blind spot, and dropped into the command core with a smile and a homemade thermal bomb. The blast cracked the sky in half. "Call that one a Beckfast special," he said, as the burning wreckage lit up orbit. By the third wave, they weren't just survivors. They were symbols. Pirate clans began jamming comms to broadcast Terran war hymns. Old colonies started painting blood-red stars on their hulls, the mark of Earth. And across systems, whispered words returned. Let the humans fight. But the Jalathi weren't done. No more fleets, no more blunders. This time, they sent a seer, an ancient psychic war engine that didn't need ships or soldiers, just thought, just focus. It descended over Luna Vex like a god of old, glowing, vast, and silent. Kaido paled. It's reading our intentions before we act. Ava clenched her fists. Then we give it nothing to read. She turned to the others. Strip all tech, no signals, no patterns, just instinct. Beck blinked. You want us to improvise against a telepathic death machine? Yes, Tez smirked. Finally. A plan that feels like us. The battle that followed made no sense to any observer. No strategy, no formation, just chaos. Ava moved like liquid through smoke, her every action a feint within a feint. Beck laughed through the fire, planting decoys in reverse time delay patterns. Tez hijacked the moon's failing tectonic systems to trigger microquakes. Kaido began humming old Earth jazz to scramble the seer's rhythm. And it worked. The seer hesitated, fractured, overloaded. Humans fought like no one else in the galaxy. Because they didn't fight to win, they fought to survive creatively. And that was worse. At the end, the seer imploded in a silence so absolute, it stunned the stars. Ava knelt by the crater, staring at its remains. Half metal, half crystal, all arrogance. We told them, she whispered. Across the stars, the message had spread. The humans weren't coming back. They never left. The war wasn't over. It had just been reminded what war really looked like. There was no ceremony, no signature under starlight, just silence, wide and terrified, as the galaxy looked into the eyes of humanity and said, never again. Final entry, Galactic Council War Logs. They came not as warriors, not with fleets or guns or seers. They came in silence, all of them. Eldari judges, Zarn delegates, Jalathi High Command. Over 500 ships orbited the scorched moon of Luna Vex, not to attack, to beg. Ava stood atop the highest ridge, flanked by the team that shattered illusion and history in equal measure. Behind her, the last Terran flag fluttered in artificial wind, stitched by hand, carried for years, waiting for this moment. Kaido read the new council transmission again. This isn't a peace offer, he said. It's an apology. They want terms. Beck whistled. Took the whole damn galaxy to realize maybe trying to kill the most dangerous species wasn't a great idea. Tez smirked. Bet the Jalathi are choking on their own arrogance. No, Ava said, eyes hard. They're choking on fear. She turned to the others. They don't fear what we did. They fear what we still could do. The delegates arrived in person, unarmed, unarmored. Even the Jalathi general, six-limbed, clawed, and proud, walked without escort, his crown dimmed. He stood before Ava. Not eye to eye, no species ever did. but with a warrior's respect. "I have read your histories," he said slowly, like a man reciting his own death sentence. "The Purge of Mars, the Siege of Europa, the Phoenix Protocol." Ava said nothing. "The stories claimed you were extinct, or scattered, or broken." She let the silence hang like a blade. "They were wrong." Beck coughed. "They usually are." The Eldari judge floated forward, her voice like wind chimes. "You've destabilized the council, emboldened rebellion, undermined lawful command." "You mean exposed it," Kaito replied. "You built peace on a lie, and now it's cracking." "We built peace to protect you," the judge snapped. The ban on human warfare was not exile. It was mercy. Ava stepped forward, her voice steady. Number it was fear in disguise. They spoke for hours, about reparations, about disarmament, about silencing the broadcast. Ava listened. Then she said the one thing they truly feared. "We're not the ones asking for peace." Tez triggered a final feed burst. Across every planet, every ship, every comm channel, a single moment played. Ava, standing in silence. Behind her, the shattered wrecks of 3 fleets. Above her, the human flag. And her voice. "We didn't choose this, but we remember, and now, so will you." The effect was immediate. Mutinies in Zarn slave worlds. Eldari diplomats stepping down in shame. Even Jalathi foot soldiers laying down arms, haunted by the realization that humanity wasn't gone. They had simply been watching, waiting. A reckoning had come. Not with fire, but memory. And so the council did the only thing left to do. They wrote a new law. Short, final, non-negotiable. No species, government, or entity shall knowingly enlist, provoke, or involve Terran-descended humans in acts of interstellar warfare. Violation constitutes a galactic-level existential threat, under penalty of extinction. Beck framed it on the wall of the ghost current. "Hey," he grinned. "We made the rulebook." Kaito shook his head. "We are the rulebook." Tez leaned back, exhausted but smiling. "So what now?" Ava looked out at the stars, now watching her back for the first time in centuries. "We go silent," she said. "We vanish. No more broadcasts, no more battles." "They'll come looking," Tez warned. "They won't find us." "And if they do?" Beck asked. Ava smiled, slow and quiet. "Then they'll remember." The galaxy would go on. Empires would rise, treaties would fall, but one law would never be touched, never tested, because every species had now seen what it meant to awaken the sleeping giants of Earth. And so, humanity was never called to war again. Because the galaxy learned the truth the hard way. You don't unleash humanity. You survive their mercy.